Hi there, I'm Daniel Kirsch, and today I want to talk to you about the syllabus and the kind of the basic elements of it and how I run my courses, especially my upper division courses. So the first thing you should know before we look at this and try to make sense of this, in fact, I'll just sort of go over here, try to block some of it out, even though you're going to try to look at it in the meantime, is again, my name is Daniel Kirsch. Please call me Daniel. Is the first thing. Professor Kirsch is just the title. And I think in the real world today, most people call each other by their first names, and I see no reason to depart from that, and I'd really rather not. So call me Daniel, and I may even correct you in the first couple of weeks. But secondly, you should know that I am someone who is a thoroughly steeped academic in political science. I'm someone who has been teaching this for 20 years. I don't know if I look young or sound young or whatever, but I am somebody who's been first in graduate school, which was right out of college, and then after college I've been teaching, and I did have a 2-year gap during graduate school where I was in the corporate world. Nobody was calling me doctor, professor, or mister anything. That paid better, but anyway, right now, what I'm focused on is teaching, and and doing my own research as well. I've published a book. It's on the politics of student loans. You can look it up. It's came out a couple of years ago. I did some research in graduate school on the racial kind of overtones and undertones of campaign rhetoric in one state, and it was about the politics of elections in the state of Massachusetts, and that's where I got my degree. I'm originally from upstate New York. I've been here in California for about 5 years, and since that time I have been teaching at a number of CSU campuses and community colleges. And various people have had a chance to weigh in on my performance online. I guess through various kind of online websites, and I made a few videos of those if you care to look them up. But mostly, I not to toot my own horn, but mostly people like my teaching. There are a few outliers, and I'll tell you what those are. Some people say that I seem disorganized, but oftentimes those people are the folks who have not bothered to try to ask questions about my class, but I don't deny that everyone has shortcomings. I think a lot of my shortcomings are in trying to be flexible, but also try and understanding, while also trying to be really trying to stick to the plan and trying to keep everyone on task. And I think it's a delicate balance sometimes, and sometimes I don't always walk that tightrope as well as I can. I'm just a human being, but also I completely take seriously the comments that people make in their anonymous reviews, both online and in my official reviews. So I want you to know that I'm going to be really aggressive this semester about trying to organize myself and get you all the materials you need on time. And all the feedback that I can get you in a timely manner. And yeah, I want to make sure that my door is open virtually, even though we're still online this semester. I want you to be able to reach out to me through my email, and amazingly, it's Kirsch. Nobody else has taken that at the university, and KIRSCH, and that's my username at the university domain. And then I also I've taught a number of courses in California here. I've taught the presidency, I've taught the media, I've taught a research methods course, I taught an upper division course in American politics research basically, and and I also teach a lot of intro to American government. But in my upper division courses, I really try to stick to this formula that I'm about to explain to you. And this is through, a lot of deliberation and trial and error, and it's also through, a lot of reading about teaching, and a lot of adopting really I think, effective methods of teaching and learning in courses like this. And I actually think, so let me be upfront. I recently published a paper that's in a chapter in a textbook about teaching undergraduates, and one of the practices that I've adopted is something called contract grading. And I didn't come up with the idea of contract grading; it's been around for a long time. But some of the forms it's recently taken, I think, address a lot of what happens in university grading, which is frankly grade inflation, and also this. There's a there's a really good professor whose name that who's at Ohlone College in Fremont that I want to give you the website to, and she talks about how grading just suffocates teaching and learning, and that's not true for everyone certainly, but I have certainly found it to be true. And I've done a lot of grading in my life, and I, just to be upfront, I really dislike grading, and I have trouble understanding professors who like grading. So one of the things I don't like is that you're constantly focused. I like reading. I genuinely like reading student papers and watching student contributions to the conversation and asking questions. But what I don't like is having to have this double narrative going on in my mind while I'm reading it. Is like, okay, how many points can I award here? How many points do I have to take away here? And is this something that I can do while also balancing the fact that this person has a life outside and responsibilities besides this? I think that's too much, and I think it's distortive. I think it doesn't help anyone's learning process, let alone mine or yours. And I think what I'd rather do is coach you to success, and there's a formula that I've basically, not exactly a formula, but a framework that I've come up with that echoes a lot of what I think works in contract grading, but also what works in this brand of teaching and this brand of political science, this type of political science, and learning about it. So it's called contract grading, and you can always, oh, and by the way, you can always get in touch with me besides my email. You can also go through Canvas. It goes directly to my email, and you can also call me during the business day, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I generally don't make promises that I'll respond outside of those hours. But if you talk to me in those hours, then certainly I'll try to get back to you in a timely way, hopefully right away. And can also, some people have texted me. I'd ask you to stay away from that if you can, unless it's sort of an absolute emergency. But I'm not that kind of doctor, so I don't need that. I don't think that there's ever that much of an emergency. But of course, if people need my help and there's a due date or something, and of course. So what I want to do today and in this video is to try to answer some frequently asked questions, and I think the best way to do that is kind of explain to you the framework that I have kind of in my mind that I think should be in your mind when talking about this class, and that I think other classes could benefit from, but I can't impose my methods on other people. So my contract consists of several big parts. One of them is the fact that I have 6 modules, okay? And in these upper division courses, I think it's best to keep it simple. And I keep it simple by making sure that I'm focusing on the material and focusing on my lectures and on how I can help you understand and help you better do your own work rather than penalizing you for not doing something exactly the way that I thought it should be done. So let me first start with this. So the contract, and I'll put this way, is basically this. Everything in red is the contract. So 6 modules, which consists of, and each of the modules has 3 parts. One is what are called contribution to literature reviews. And I've often called them literature reviews in the past, but this semester I'm calling them contribution to literature reviews, and maybe we'll call them CTLR papers. And contribution to literature reviews are this kind of standard papers that I'm going to be asking you to write that are responses to long-form questions about the reading in that module. And in that module, there's 6 of them, and the first and the last module can't help but being introductory and conclusion. modules where you get to know me, you get to know members of your group. On that more in a minute. But also, I make sure that you have the right materials for your class. That is textbooks, access to the internet, the right time of day, the fact that you'll be able to come to these asynchronous meetings once a week. We only meet one of the days that we're scheduled to meet during the week out of the two. The other, I want you to devote to kind of the asynchronous learning modules that I have set up. The contribution to literature reviews are something that are, you have between 2 and 3 weeks every time to do them. And they usually are about three or four pages. So altogether, you're going to be writing, if you times that by 6, that's about 20 pages or so of writing that you'll be doing. And that's going to be the main focus of what I'm going to be asking you to do in the course. But in addition to that, you also need to have what are called ongoing conversations. Okay, conversations. So conversations are going to be, because we're still virtual this semester, I'm going to be asking you to use the university issued video tool that I'll be explaining in the first class meeting, where you're going to be posting once or more than once, as long as your contributions add up to more than 5 minutes of substantive discussion and answering the questions and responding to other people. If you can do that for more than 5 minutes of your recorded video, then that's going to be how you make your contribution to the ongoing conversation in your group. And so I'll be kicking it off with a question. I may or may not record mine through video because you've already seen me enough on video. I might just start out with my own kind of straightforward questions, and then you respond to them in some kind of video format that I'll be explaining in the first class. So when you do that, as long as you do 5 minutes of that every module, then you are all having a conversation, okay? And you're all helping each other. And I think that help will manifest itself, especially after the first module. The first module is going to be awkward. You're going to get to know each other, get to know me, ask other questions about contract grading, probably especially, and also about the course and the material, what you need. But after that, in the second, third, fourth, and fifth module especially, you're going to be helping each other, leaning on each other, and hopefully helping each other kick off your work and critique your work. And so as long as you complete the conversation every week and the contribution to literature reviews, as long as you do both of those things at the end of every module, you've done 2 assignments. And there are 12 total assignments, okay? And those 12 assignments are 6 contributions to literature reviews and 6 conversations. And if you do all 12, you get a B in the course, okay? You get a B. The idea behind contract grading is that if you complete all of your assignments to the satisfaction of the instructor, you get a B. Or a certain grade. Some start with a C. I prefer to start with B because it's a lot of work that I'm asking you to do, and I don't want you to do extra work. But I think B is a fair grade for a kind of good approximation for all the attention that you need to give to all of these assignments. The other part is the reason why you'll need to know my office hours. Okay, my office hours are printed on the first page of the syllabus, and you can make an appointment, and you should make an appointment in my office hours for the following reason. Conferences. Let's say you submit an assignment, a contribution to literature review. You submit that one. That's 3 or 4 pages, and you receive back a grade, a mark, not a grade, but a mark of incomplete. It doesn't mean that you won't get credit for it. It means you don't have credit for it right now. So what that means is, if you want credit for that, you'll need to schedule a conference with me in Calendly. That's the tool that I use. and schedule a conversation with a conference with me in Calendly. And when we meet for roughly 15 minutes, I've become very efficient with these kind of meetings. You and I will talk about what you could do better that you need to actually fulfill the assignment. And it's pretty binary. So whether you, if you did everything I asked you to in the assignment, in the contribution to literature review, or in the conversation, I may mark you as incomplete because you didn't post to that particular conversation. So if you didn't post to the conversation, you receive an incomplete. Now, I've received a lot of questions. I hope I can avoid them by saying this. There are 12 assignments. If you do all 12, you'll get a B. I allow 2 to be either missing or incomplete at the end of the semester, and you still receive the B. 2. Missing or incomplete is the same thing. So if I mark it as incomplete, that means that I'm either looking at a blank paper or I'm looking at something that I need to give you feedback on. Please make an appointment with me so I can tell you exactly what it is I tell you is still missing from your paper, or is done maybe incorrectly or not according to what I asked in the assignment. So if you still have 2 of those at the end of the semester, you'll still get a B. But if you have 3 that are missing, that ventures into B- territory. And then if you're missing 4 or 5, that starts to get into C category and maybe even D category. So that's how it works. And if you want an A, you can get an A. But here's what you'll have to do. You could actually go through all semester, and if you completed everything and I never gave you an incomplete, or if you got 2 incompletes, or you skipped 2 assignments and you still have 10 at the end of the semester, you can get a B and then be done with it. You don't have to meet with me even once. But if you want an A, what you'll have to do is first get a B. You can't get an A without getting a B. So if you do 9 assignments, if you have 9 complete assignments that you've submitted, and you do 3 conferences with me, and do one other thing I'm going to explain, you're still going to get a B-. Okay, so you have to get a B to get an A. You can't just do what I'm about to tell you and then expect to get an A. You have to have 3 conferences, and the 3 conferences have to be done either the first conference has to be done in the first module or second module during that probably 4 or 5 week period. And then the second conference has to be done in the next module and the third. And so this is how we avoid a bottleneck at the end of the semester. So you have 4 weeks. So this is not a supercharged semester. You should be able to meet with me during those first 4 or 5 weeks. And if you can't, I'm not looking to penalize you. You just can't achieve an A. But if you wait until the next semester, and here's how you get the A. After your conversation, you submit what's called a reflection, a post-conference reflection. And that reflection should be, you should turn it in within a week of when we meet. And it should be about a page long or so. And that page long should be full of, what was said in the conference and what you're going to do as a result of that exchange. And it could be a little one-sided about what I said, but it should include, what you said as well. And so you're gonna write up that post-conference reflection, hopefully before you do your next paper, your next contribution to literature review. And if it's a conference where we are talking about an incomplete that you received, then you also have 1 week after the conference to turn in another submission, a new submission to your contribution to literature review or your discussion, your conversation. So you can do those over. You just have a week to both turn in a reflection as well as a new submission. Feel free to rewind this at any time, because I think I'm just going to say these things over and over again, but this video should be your reference. So here's how I see all this working. You have all these elements, right? You have the contribution to literature reviews. There's 6 of them. Conversations. There are 6 of them with your small group. And it's going to be the same small group all semester that you're in. And I do hope that most of you are going to be able to talk to each other in your small groups during our synchronous class meetings. And if necessary, you could, we could work out a system where your group might want to do your contribution synchronously while you're meeting during class. But we could talk about that. And then 3 conferences. So they have to be Conference A, Conference B, Conference C during different parts of the semester. So these are all part of the contract, and they all are connected. So your contribution to literature reviews, you should be having conferences about. Potentially, some of these conferences will be about the conversations in your group. And hopefully all of this will give you confidence in the material, in your own success. Okay, because fundamentally, I want you to learn from this. I want you to know more about politics. I want you to know more about the topics that you're interested in. And ultimately, and this is the last thing I'll explain, ultimately, I want you to have a finished product of work that you are proud of from this course. And the way that's going to work is your contribution to literature reviews. The first 3 modules, you're going to write 3 different papers, 3 different contribution to literature reviews. And in those contribution to literature reviews, essentially you're going to be reading from the textbook and other sources I provide. And then you have to find 2 additional sources through your own research in the library database. And in those first 3 modules, you are doing work that you're interested in. You're finding new sources to add to the literature that you're already engaging in by reading the textbook and the other sources in the course. And by finding those 2 additional sources, you're providing the template for the next stage of the course, which is in Module 4, you're going to be doing a peer review of someone else in the class and the work that they have done. They are going to submit. They are going to put online a copy of one of their Module 1 to 3 papers, and then you in Module 4 are going to write 2 peer reviews. You are going to write. You are going to critique it in 1 to 2 pages each. And that's going to be your 2 assignments for Module 2, for Module 4. And then in Module 5, you are going to, Module 5, you are going to make those revisions, okay? And you're going to make those revisions and resubmit a new paper. And you're going to be talking about this in your conversations with your group. And Module 6 is going to be a summative assignment that I will announce, when we get there. So all of this fits together. And I want you to take into consideration that this is not something where you can go back and make things up. We are going forward, but I want you to be able to come to me if you have something that you are confused about, or if any of this contract grading confuses you. I want you to come back to it. But you can forget everything I said except these 3 things. That's what makes up the course, those 3 elements. 6 of these, 6 of these, 3 of these. All right? And from that, you'll get a final grade. And these are the important elements, and I could confuse you more by adding these up in different ways and telling you the different possibilities, but frankly, that's what the syllabus is for. That's what the rest of this video has been for. And it's also what questions during class are for. So we will be meeting once during, we'll meet during our first meeting, but we'll also be meeting, once per week after that during one of the scheduled times during the week. And you can also always contact me over email or Canvas message or phone. Because I am here for you. I am just someone who is supposed to be facilitating you learning. And I might be a bit long-winded still. I'm working on that. But these lectures are mostly all done, and they're here for you to be able to cultivate, some understanding from, and really pretend that you're in class. And I understand that people have shorter attention spans these days, and lectures aren't exactly how they learn. But the lectures are recorded, so I invite you to listen to a little bit every day or every week. These are in place of regular course meetings. So if you need to take a break to get a drink of water or something else, I invite you to do that. And there are transcripts of these lectures as well that hopefully YouTube is recording. But fundamentally, this is how the course works, is these 3 things, and the rest is substance. But the substance will come both through the assignments and through the YouTube lectures. So I've tried to boil it down to the elements that I think are kind of digestible, and I want you to feel free to reach out to me if there's any confusion at all. But we will be explaining who will be in what groups during the first synchronous meeting, and the rest of the material in Module 1 will be available to you on day 1 of the course. But for now, I hope that you kind of understand where this course is coming from, and that your success is paramount, and that I am here to help you with that, and that I've developed this structure over a long period of time, and I think it works quite well, and I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from it. So please don't hesitate to reach out, and I thank you for listening to me during this time, and for working with me during this course this semester. And I want you to know one last thing. If you have something in your life that is preventing you from engaging in this course fully, either throughout this semester or during just part of this semester, I want you to know that I'm here to support you and point you towards whatever resources that you do need. There are a lot of great resources at this university, and I'm proud to work here. So please tell me if there's something I can do to help and point you in the right direction. Okay, I look forward to meeting you on day 1. Thanks.